us. You can see a lot of the grapes are gone here. Most of them are white. The whites don't take as long to mature here, fortunately, so we're able to harvest those fairly quickly. As you can see, there's still some reds on the vines. We want to leave them on as long as we possibly can because we want to make sure that we're getting the right sugar levels, and it's only through exposure to heat and sunshine that we can do that. So typically the reds are usually the last ones we harvest. This is a pretty small operation here. You can see for yourself. This is well, actually this is about, I would say, 15 acres. We have 40 in total. There's 15 more in the Gasboro Valley, and then there's 6 in Canning. So in total, we probably produce about 6,500 cases of wine a year, which is just under 100,000 liters. For us, this is important because everything is done by hand here, and our goal really is to concentrate more on the quality and consistency of the wines. The family is very, they're very specific about the way they want to sort of enhance their reputation. The reputation of Nova Scotia wines in general, again, is by really working on quality control. And the less product we have, or the more we focus on that as opposed to quantity, the easier it is to get those quality control measures in place and then to sort of execute them efficiently. So, we're not really interested too much in size here. We're more interested in concentrating again on the quality of the grapes and their consistency over the course of successive seasons. You can see we've got some netting up here. This is what remains of how we protect the vineyard from the birds. I certainly think, I hope that all the grapes that are gone now we got, and not the birds, because it can be a bit of a problem here, especially near the end of the season, because of course the grapes are very appealing. They're nice and full and rich and sweet, so we have to do a lot of netting. And this year we actually did a lot more than I anticipated. We almost netted the entire vineyard. We have some other methods that we use as well to kind of just protect our investment from birds and animals. We use a sound system. Yesterday they were firing off little sort of firecrackers to scare off the birds and stuff. So, we're just trying to it's just a little battle of wits with the animals for about a week or two so that we can, get the grapes and get out. Now, there's actually a second season for us, well, a second harvest for us, usually in late December, early January. This is when we harvest our ice wine grapes. Ice wine's made a little bit differently. Normally in October, probably the second or third week. Again, it kind of depends on the season. We'll be out here harvesting the majority of our vineyard, but we're actually going to leave some of the grapes on the vines. Usually it's one of 3 varietals, and they're all white: Vidal, Muscat, or Ortega. Sometimes all 3 if we're lucky enough. We'll leave those grapes on the vines until usually late December or early January. The temperature has to be -8 to -10. That's the critical element that we have to be aware of there. And then we pick the grapes when they're frozen, press them down in the press room, and then we get this really wonderful, sweet, concentrated juice that we use as the foundation of the ice wine. And Nova Scotia ice wines are known across the world. And I'm not kidding, we get lots of tourists from all over the world, particularly in Asia, China, Korea, Japan, where ice wine's very difficult for them to make. They come here and they just go wild for Canadian ice wine. So there's certainly a lot of cachet, I think, involved in having a sort of traditional Canadian ice wine. And Nova Scotia, there you go. Nova Scotia does some very, very nice ice wines because we also have, if I didn't mention this already, slightly higher acidity levels in the soil, and that is a perfect element, a counterbalancing element, if you will, to developing ice wines so that they're not really cloying and thick and too syrupy, and I think that makes our ice wines absolutely lovely. Now today, when we get down to the tasting momentarily, you're going to get a chance to taste something very special. It's a dessert wine that we make using all Nova Scotia apples. If you weren't aware, the Annapolis Valley boasts some of the most beautiful apple orchards in the world, and the family thought it was, had to do something with these wonderful apples, and they came up with this beautiful concept for a dessert wine. It's beautifully executed, and again, as I say, you will get a chance to taste that today. And just one final note: everything that you're trying here, and indeed everything that you find in the shop, and the restaurant as well, we've sourced locally. So the food, meat, fish, produce, the wines that you're tasting, even grapes that we buy, and we do buy some from contract growers. Those contract growers are local. So we're really focusing on, exploring what Nova Scotia can showcase. And that's kind of fun for guests and visitors too, because, it's kind of fun to be able to go to a winery and experience something special, as opposed to something that you've probably maybe already experienced before. Okay, so that's great. Why don't we just head on down to the courtyard and we can try a few wines.